From unincorporated Vallejo. And here's been another week went by, or another meeting coming in, and I have no answer from the DA's office on the Brown Act violation that was perpetrated on, brought up to us on February 1st of this year. Maybe I was trying to figure out what I was going to say here today, but all of a sudden the paper jumps out at me, and in the paper we have a judge that basically looked like committed some kind of an act against his wife, and the cops went in there and put him to jail. But this may answer more than anything else, because when we get over to the second page, our DA has to call up and talk to the Attorney General whether what's going on, is his conflict of interest, or what's his play in this thing. But at the bottom it says, he goes on and says, Judge Bowers knows what his ethical and legal obligations are as a judge. And Dubain said, I am sure he will make the appropriate decision. I think we've got a problem here. We've got a DA that seems to think that there's a hierarchy that needs to be kissed, or whatever you want to call it, and we don't have. Everybody is supposed to be equal, and we're supposed to do what's under the law. So we have a domestic violence situation. When they show up, somebody goes to jail. That's what I thought the law was. So that should be maybe that's his problem, why he can't get back to me and answer a simple question on the Brown Act. I would have thought the Brown Act would have been a lot simpler. Maybe he has to go over to the Attorney General on that one. And then the last meeting I was here, and was the meeting that we hired the new CAO, Projeta. Some of the public was not in favor of Projeta, and they expressed their opinions. But from a supervisor, Linda Seifert, who chastised the public for expressing themselves is wrong. Who else is going to do that in this county? For the department heads to stand up and applaud is very understandable. For Virginia now is going to be their new boss, and it's going to be the person they have to kiss up to. Thank you.
Morning, Richard Giddens from Sassoon City. You know, it's one thing when government fails to serve us, as evidenced last couple of weeks ago by folks coming in here complaining about port services getting control over nuisances in neighborhoods and things like that. Things that we've all gone to the district attorney's office and complained about with no results. So it's one thing that when we're not served, okay? But it's entirely a different matter when we are injured. I have here today before me a document. It's an administrative complaint against a judge. Now, when I tried to file this document, I was threatened. It's all recorded on video. It's recorded on video that the county has in the courtrooms and in the clerk's office. It's recorded by my own video camera, such as what I'm doing right now. So there can be no denial, okay, that when you refuse to accept a court filing, you're in fact violating my First Amendment rights, okay, the right to petition the government. And earlier, when I tried to file earlier court filings to call for Mars and hearing to fire a clearly inept attorney who wasn't acting on my behalf, I was threatened again. We're calling the cops. You don't have a Sixth Amendment right to counsel. In fact, you don't have a 14th Amendment right to equal justice under law. You know, this all reminds me of what happened in the early 1960s in the Deep South. You know, hey, get out of here, N-word type. You know, the laws don't apply to you. Special rules for special people, right? Well, guess what? I'm a military veteran. In fact, I'm a military retiree. I went out at great risk to myself to defend this nation, to defend my community, to defend your neighborhoods. And how am I treated? How am I treated? When I try to go file a court filing, I'm threatened. We're calling the cops. We don't like you, Mr. Giddens. You don't have rights. Only certain people have rights here, despite what the Constitution says. Now, I just spoke to a political figure in this room, and he says, well, You need to spend money. Petition California's courts. I already tried. Why should I have any faith in your courts? All they seem to offer is endless litigation with no remedy, resolution, or relief. No, an entirely different venue is called for. It's called the federal courts. We've been here before with Mr. Toller, the last district attorney who was convicted of violating civil rights. Do we have to go there again? What for? Haven't we learned anything? Then there's other issues. Why did the Sassoon police allow a state police officer to run a drug and prostitution outfit in my neighborhood for 3 years, despite neighbors' complaints, despite the videotapes, despite the letters, despite the photographs? Why? Why can't they enforce restraining orders? There seems to be a common denominator here. I have no faith. I'm sorry.
Okay. I'd like to speak on Mr. Gibbons' behalf. He is correct. You do have the power of inquiry and you have an interest in protecting his civil liberty. This thing with the judge that happened just the other day was interesting. I guess it was last night. He actually had his civil liberties violated. We have no representation. 5 people cannot represent 400,000 people. Simply can't. Part of your duty, and I know you really don't care, but here's the truth. Part of your duty is to inform people, and inform people of the laws and civil liberties. And we've got a prosecutor here. I love having that. I've studied the criminal law quite thoroughly. Upon arrest, you're supposed to bring a person before a judge. It's called a probable cause hearing. We don't have those anymore. Domestic violence, I understand the problem, but no man should face jail until a hearing has been held. What's happening is we don't add more judges because their salaries are set at $180,000. We don't have justices of the peace anymore, so we can pay a lesser judge to hold a minor matter. A state judge can bind the state with a single moving party, and yet we have all misdemeanors held by that same judge. You know, our system is so mal-arranged it's not even funny. Every time you arrest somebody without a probable cause hearing, and if they win, they can now sue you guys. And he is right. You have a duty to protect his civil liberties. 5 of you can actually declare the judge acted in bad behavior. You may not know that, but you can. That's the tenure that all judges, both federal and state, have the power to do. This is a court of record, right here. You're taking records. You get to take evidence, information, and you get to make a decision. In fact, you have a duty to do so. I'll be talking in a few minutes on the next topic, topic number 14, about your districting. You also do something unlawful. You set your own districts, and you decide how many of you represent the 400,000 people. The original code in California had to do with counties, and it said each rep should only have 4,000 people. The judge had a civil liberties statement. It's really interesting to me because that judge should have been brought in front of another judge. Anybody under probable cause or probable suspicion, I think it's United States versus Johnson, says that you have a right to a probable cause hearing, and it's not determined by a cop. It's been reaffirmed by Gerstein versus Pugh, reaffirmed by Riverside versus McLaughlin, and that needs to be provided for. We're not just here to pay cop salaries. And the idea, this is interesting too, victims are not victims until the person is held guilty. And the serious conflict that we have is paying fines for criminal action. It used to be called charm fees. I know, it doesn't matter, but you need to know. And you need to teach everybody else.
Yeah.